Everybody here, will call to order this Board of Weber County Commissioners dated this 22nd day of August 2017 at 10 o'clock. I'm Commissioner James Ebert. I'll be chairing today. In attendance also is Commissioner Gibson, and Commissioner Harvey has been excused. We want to say thank you for everyone attending today. It's good to see some fresh new faces and one or two old, not so fresh faces. I won't mention who it is, Clint. It's a pleasure to see you today, sir. We will start today with a moment of silence. Following the moment of silence, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have Joe. Do I see Joe? We'll have Ricky Hatch lead us today in the Pledge of Allegiance. And where's he at?
Hey, snuck in the back. There he is.
Let me get my glasses. There he is. Okay, Joe. Thank you. And then the thought of the day will be by Commissioner Gibson. Would you join me for a brief pause for a moment of silence? Thank you very much. Mr. Olson.
So I have this cool little thought book that's been fun over the years. It's called Life's Little Instruction Book, and it's kind of lightened it up because we've had some serious thoughts over the years, and we've had some heavy issues to deal with, and we try to think about some of the things that we're dealing with, and frankly, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, and so I choose to look at the goofy little book today instead of deal with some of those nutty ones, because those hard issues from a national level, I think I just need a little break, if you know what I mean. Anybody else feel the same way a little bit? So anyway, just in our world, the one that I came across that I thought was funny was, it's just really good advice. It says, watch the movie or rewatch the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And then a few pages later, I come across a different one that says, get involved with your local government. As someone once said, politics is way too important to be left to politicians. So a little bit of light humor that I think helps me get through the day. And then as we deal with the difficult things, this one makes me feel better because you've all seen me break this rule way too many times. But this is probably good advice for all of us. Never be ashamed of good, honest tears. So we're both guilty of that once in a while, and of the things that we think are good when it's a sorrowful situation or even a something that we're really happy about. I'll have to admit, I shed just one little one today when I put my kids on the bus again for the first day of school and kind of watched them.
I didn't. I jumped for joy. I high-fived. Took a picture of them walking away.
Well, anyway, I have a senior this year, and it was a little hard for me.
I've got a senior too, and I gave him a high five.
All right, well, I shed one good honest tear.
Well, yours is a daughter.
Yeah.
Mine is a son. So
that might have something to do with it.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Gibson. Our next item is presentations, and again, I think in line with Commissioner Gibson's thought a little bit about sometimes getting really committed to something and sometimes feeling like, shedding a tear or feeling close to people. Those who commit time and commit energy and will lay it all out there. Sometimes those are the people that you have a close connection with. Sometimes you build those relationships. So this is one of the funner things that we get to do here in the commission meetings, is when we take some time to recognize those in our community or those in our staff or in our circle that really bring something different to our community. They build our community. And I like to say, communities aren't built of roads and buildings, they're built of people. And so any chance we can take to recognize those who do so much for us, we want to be able to recognize them and let them know we appreciate them. So we'll start today with a presentation of the Seal of Service Award to Eleanor Doherty Gallegos, or ED, as it says on here, and as a volunteer at the Sheriff's Office. And our presenter today is Lieutenant Kevin Burns. Lieutenant.
Thank you, Commissioner. Introduced to Edie Gallegos. Edie is one of those folks that, there's a lot of things that happen in our community that require a lot of effort. Edie is behind the scenes and fully engaged in behind the scenes, but she has been volunteering at the Sheriff's Office for about 20 years. And as Sandy logged the hours, it's thousands of hours of volunteer service that has saved us from having, paying a clerk and those types of things, that she files reports and chases down photographs and things like that for one of the more difficult areas that a person could volunteer, and that's with CSI. She has really been right there on the front lines.
Is that because of the staff or because of the
It is
job?
because of the nature of their work.
I'm looking at Romney.
There is,
I'm looking right at Romney. That's who I'm looking at.
Over the last 20 years, she has probably witnessed in some form or fashion every nasty piece of society that has occurred in Weber County. If you can think, if you can try to wrap your brain around the things that she has played a part in. She's been doing it as a volunteer for 20 years. And Edie, it was time to recognize her. It was time to get her up here in front of everybody and thank her for her great work and the things that she has done for CSI. You see here in the audience, we'll have some folks that have come and gone over the years and have taken time to come down here and congratulate her and welcome, and recognize her for her great service. And that says a lot about a person. So I'd like Sandy, who is Edie's supervisor, to say a few words and fill in a little bit on her, but and then let you do your award, or maybe hear from Edie. So, sure, go ahead.
Okay. I wrote a recommendation to the sheriff for her to get this Seal of Service Award, and if I could take the time to read it, I think that'll
Please.
really give everybody the understanding. So Edie began volunteering shortly after her husband John passed away in 1997. She wanted to keep busy. She responded to an ad put in the newspaper requesting volunteers for the Weber County Sheriff's Office. In response to that ad, Edie was assigned to the Weber Metro Crime Scene Investigative Unit in 1998. She was also doing wildlife rehab for the Nature Center at the time, and she would bring in baby birds to feed, and it was fun to hear their chirping in the office. Edie's assignment may seem simple: keep the CSI unit organized, but for those who may not know this office, it is a rather difficult task. She filed all case files, meticulously keeping track of the numerical sequencing for every case filed since 1998. She is very particular about how we write our numbers and letters on the case files, and it became quickly known to those in the office never to file your own casework, have legible writing, because if you made a mistake, Edie would come and find you. With her knowledge of our case files, it seemed only obvious to have her archive our casework. She has created a list of archive files for all casework since the beginning of the CSI unit in 1992. This list is comprised of each archive box by year and the files contained in each box. At any time you ask for an old case file, she will tell you which archive box it is in. She has done a wonderful job at it. After working with her on archiving projects for the last few years, I understand the difficulty this task can impose. Edie was also tasked with cataloging the thousands upon thousands of 10-print cards into our own storage facility. Every person arrested at the Weber County Jail would be fingerprinted and a copy sent to the CSI office. Edie would sort them alphabetically, take them to almost a dozen filing cabinets, and place the cabinets in alphabetical order, or place the cards in alphabetical order. If there were two people with the same name and date of birth, Edie would check the fingerprints themselves to find any discrepancies. She became quite proficient at identifying fingerprints. She would take the 10 print cards to a member of the CSI unit to confirm. Her attention to detail would make her a talented latent print examiner if the opportunity ever presented itself. This database would be used by CSI to conduct fingerprint comparisons before the age of digital storage devices. Filing your used cards back in the cabinet, don't even think about it. For the past 8 years, CD took on an added responsibility of fulfilling our photo requests. These come from our grandma forms or from our participating law enforcement entities. This requires ED to access our database, make sure the photographs of the case are in the system, and to ensure the photos go with the case file. Once that is confirmed, ED makes a disk and then places a phone call to the detective for pickup or hands the photos over to the records clerks for releasing. And of course, ED has kept track of every case she has opened in our database. I asked her once if she ever saw anything over the years that upset her. Just the animal cruelty cases, she says. If I haven't impressed you enough at this point, let me give you some interesting numbers estimated of ED's work in our office. 3,000 cases per year times 19 years. She has filed and organized 57,000 case files. Number of archive boxes, 301, when we still have 9 more years pending. Number of temprint cards filed, 100,000 temprints at a very low estimate. Number of photo requests completed, 400 per year for 8 years, 3,200 requests. Candy for a very needy CSI unit, 3 pounds a week for 52 weeks for 5 years, 5,780 pounds of candy.
Is that just Romney's candy, or is that spread amongst everyone?
You definitely
3 pounds
partake.
a week doesn't sound like enough for this group.
And her hours of service, which I think is one of the most important. 400 hours a year for 19 years, 7,600 years of hours of volunteer service. Edie loves the outdoors and has spent a lot of time in Laramie, Wyoming, where she used to have a cabin. She is retired from the IRS. Her favorite part about coming into the CSI office are all of us she has the opportunity to interact and be social with. She is a crafter, and we have always looked good through the winter seasons with her decorations. She can hang with the guys discussing guns and chat with the girls about their babies. She joins our conversations, laughs at our jokes, and rolls her eyes at our silliness. She has often been a silent example of hard work. Edie is part of the CSI family, and we cannot express enough gratitude for all of her hard work. Thank you.
Sandy. Edie, we'd love to hear from you.
I would just like to say thank you for all of the interaction I've gotten from CSI through the years, and the sheriff's office also. And this is a wonderful opportunity. It's very, very important to me that people really realize that organizations like the sheriff's office or the nature center can use any volunteer time anybody is willing to give. And it really is important to the organizations, and I love doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. If you just wait one moment, Commissioner Gibson.
Well, I have a question. If you'd answer it, I think that I love people's desire to serve. It's wonderful to have so many opportunities, and I think our state is recognized as one that volunteers in a lot of different areas. Why here? What makes you choose CSI and the Weber County Sheriff?
Well, after my husband passed away, I wanted to do volunteer time, and I was still employed with the IRS at that time, and I did 5 years of VITA, which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance for them, and started going back to working with the Nature Center. Mm-hmm. But I saw the ad in the paper about the sheriff's office needing volunteers, and so I thought, well, okay, I'll try that one. And they're the ones that assigned me to CSI. I guess they wanted to shove me off in the corner. I don't know.
So what's kept you there all these years?
The people, mostly. I mean, I enjoy the work. It's not terribly upsetting to me, but I really enjoy working with the people.
I can see that. Well, for what it's worth, I think it speaks volumes that they're here to support you today, and this number, and it's a neat thing. It's wonderful to do important work. It's even better to be recognized by those you care about, and I think that says a lot that they're here to support you in this award. So I just want to tell you thank you for your years of service and for your willingness to be a part of all these individual lives. I can tell that you've made a difference to them and to our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sweetie, I just, just to add just briefly to Commissioner Gibson, I don't think sometimes those numbers are so large, they're hard to grasp. Let's just be honest. That's a tremendous amount of work. But you've also probably been through 3 record management systems. I don't know if some folks remember the old CRIS system, any of you, but we had CRIS, we had Versaterm, and now we have Spillman. And every time that's a whole new process of learning, a whole new system, and it's a tremendous amount of work. And for you to, a lot of people quit. They benchmark their careers on when the new record management system comes because they don't want to learn something. And so for you to continue to plug along and be so organized and be committed, I think is commendable. And then I also just, a lot of folks they gloss over what you've seen and what you've been exposed to and the tremendous toll it could take on a person. So to have the intestinal fortitude to continue to work with this amazing group of people, to be a person that helps them maintain a pinch of sanity, and to be such an integral part, that they're here today supporting you says a lot. So thank you very much. And we would like to present you with a plaque and a little token of our appreciation. If you don't mind, we'll come around front.
So I love seeing the little girl here today with us. She is cute. And kind of reminds me a little bit of the personal toll of some of these jobs that we sometimes forget. So it's always good to see the families associated with these faces.
We'll move to under presentations, item number 2, and Commissioner Gibson will go ahead and handle this.
All right. Well, today we have, as we do every month, we have the opportunity to highlight a... Yes.
Lieutenant Burns, thank you very much. We appreciate you bringing this forward. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we have the opportunity every month to highlight one of our one of our departments or divisions and offices, and to recognize some of the work that they do that we sometimes don't see on a day-to-day basis. And today we have the opportunity to hear from the Department of Community and Economic Development, which is one of the departments in my portfolio. I have the opportunity to work with Sean and his group on a daily basis and have grown to love and appreciate them. And I hope that as he talks a little bit about his department today, that it will be an opportunity for all of us to learn about some of the things that they do. So Sean, I'll turn the time to you, and then I'll probably have a few things to say at the end.
Sounds great. Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Community and Economic Development Department here at Weber County. I do have to say, my son asked me what I did for my job. And so I let him watch one of the clips of the county commission meeting when I was up here speaking. And his comment was, "Dad, I really liked how many times you said, So I will try and avoid saying that today.
I'll count them for you.
You do it. All right. Commissioners, let me just start by going through the different divisions that we have within the Community and Economic Development Department. And as I do this, I'm going to talk about some of the things that happen within those divisions and the good things that are happening right now and the improvements that we're making and the service that is taking place. So we'll start with our planning division, which is led by Rick Grover. And over the last couple of years, we've had many good things take place. We had the approval of the Ogden Valley General Plan last year. We have had the approval of our county resource management plans for the Ogden Valley and Western Weber County. The Planning Division has received numerous awards over the past couple of years for the work that they have produced. And there have been many internal process updates with our applications that have really helped speed up the process for applicants and make things work more efficiently within the office. Next, our engineering division. Jared Anderson leads that division, as well as building inspection, and our building official is Craig Brown. In engineering, some of the things that we deal with are flooding, geologic hazards, sewer, stormwater, millions of dollars worth of transportation projects. And they have also received numerous awards over the last couple of years for the work that they have done. Our building inspection division reviews building permits and looks for code compliance, but they want to make sure that people are safe in buildings that are constructed. They have also worked very hard at making their process more efficient for getting a building permit. And these three divisions, planning, engineering, and building inspection, work very closely together in this review process to make sure that we are providing the best public service that we can. So when someone comes into our office to get a building permit or a land use permit because of something they want to do, that they have a good experience, a timely experience, and we continue to make those process improvements. And I need to say that that is all happening within record years, record number of applications that we have received over the last couple of years with the boom that has been going on. In addition to other projects that we have not had in years past, like the development taking place at Powder Mountain right now, which takes a significant amount of time in addition to everything else that we're doing. But somehow they manage to keep things moving, and they do an excellent job. We also have our roads division. They deal with flooding, snow plowing, paving new roads, repairing roads. And a lot of that gets taken for granted because we don't see all the work that they do. When we go and drive on a road and it's a good experience, or when our snow gets plowed in front of our house, we don't think of the employees that are out there at 4 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold doing this kind of work. And the reason they're not here today is because they're out there doing the work that they had to do. So we appreciate them. And the roads division is led by Ryan Judkins. Our garage and fleet division is led by Kyle Nyland. They maintain the county's fleet of vehicles. And over the last little bit, there has been a lot of progress made in the way that we manage that fleet. A lot of cost savings and efficiency, which saves the county money and allows us to then either purchase more vehicles or equipment or just move forward in a good direction. Our property management division, led by Bryce Taylor, maintains the Weber Center and all of the county's facilities. We do have other employees that are not directly under Bryce's management that we work closely with out at the fairgrounds, Parks and Recreation, the conference center. But this small group of individuals, there are, I think, 7 employees that do that maintenance work, but they maintain the entire county. They do a fantastic job. And whether it's a phone call because it's too hot in a conference room or there's a major problem at one of our facilities, they are there on call whenever we need them to make sure that things are taken care of. Our transfer station, we just hired a new director, and his name is John Watson, and he has gotten to work quickly, has put together a new plan for a new entrance to the transfer station with some scales. We're bringing in some new equipment. A lot of good things, a lot of positive energy is taking place at the transfer station, and we expect to see a lot of improvements within the next little while. So we're looking forward to that. And then finally, our Economic Development Division, led by Doug Larson. And we are currently working on a new strategic plan for economic development in the county. Doug also works very hard on business recruitment, developing relationships within our business community and with other partners such as our universities. And Doug also handles the local transportation fund, which provides the money that we need to build new roads in Weber County, not just for the county, but for the cities as well. So there's an awful lot of work that takes place there. Our goal as the Community and Economic Development Department is to give the best public service that we can. When someone comes into our office, we want to have everything coordinated so that they don't have to go outside of our department to make things happen. And we're going to be working more on that with the update to our economic development plan. But that is our goal. And that, again, that's probably why a lot of people are not here today, because they're out serving the public, doing the things that need to be done. With that, I just want to say thank you to all the employees who work so hard to make the Community and Economic Development Department what it is. Again, the work that takes place is sometimes taken for granted. It's not always seen, and it's not always the glamorous work. We deal with sewer and garbage and asphalt and all kinds of adverse weather conditions, but these employees make good things happen in our community. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you. So, it's interesting. I couldn't agree more with your summary of the quality of these individuals. And some of them, a lot of them aren't here, as you said, but some of them are, and I hope that they will pass on to their the folks that they work with, their employees, and all of them, our appreciation for the work that they do on a daily basis. Most of us really don't understand the pressures of clearing a road at 3:30 in the morning, or that's just an example that you use, but there's many more like that. Our maintenance of these buildings, lots of different things. It's tough work, it's good work, it's rewarding, and they do it for the right reasons. And I just have loved getting to know and working with each of these individuals. There's a lot of good things happening in our Economic Development Division, and I want to thank Doug Larson for his work there. I was interested. Yesterday we had a economic development meeting, and one of the things that was mentioned was how impressed individuals were that were in the meeting when a lead was generated from the state, and all of the right people were in the room. This was their example. All the right people were in the room to make something happen, and there's good method to the madness here of wanting to make sure that there's no stone unturned, no ball dropped, that when Douglas, Mr. Larson, and others recruit businesses to our community, that they don't run into a regulatory buzzsaw when they hit planning or engineering or zoning or anything like that. And so it's starting to become more and more important. We have to, for us to be competitive, we absolutely have to work together, and we're all in this mission together, and we have to figure out how to do that. So I think we have a great model, one that I think can really be successful in the future if we give it our best effort. And so I just want to tell you thanks, Sean. I hope that you'll pass to all your division directors our appreciation and gratitude for the work that they do, and that in turn will percolate down all the way through the system so that everybody understands that. Like you said, glamour is not the name of this particular game, and I think that many of them do probably feel underappreciated sometimes. And the hard part is that salaries are low. It's sometimes hard to keep that morale up when they're facing those challenges. But one thing we can do is show our appreciation and gratitude, and I hope that they will understand our gratitude because of some of the things that were mentioned here today. So if you'll pass that on, we sure appreciate it.
I will.
If any of you in the audience today are part of this division, would you at least raise your hand so that we can see who you are?
Look how many in the audience
And,
are part of this division.
So that's cool.
We're volunteers for our next service project. Suckers.
Doing a service project every day.
I would just like to express my appreciation for the leadership that Sean has shown as his tenure. He has basically taken probably 3 to 4 different, at one point they were director level responsibilities into his portfolio. He's surrounded by some individuals that have a tremendous amount of experience and leadership and ability, and he's been able to take that responsibility on and find ways to move the mission forward. And I'm extremely appreciative of his ability to work with other individuals and different personalities, different missions, and bring everybody into line to provide that service-oriented economic and community development department. And that's not always easy, especially when you have such a diverse portfolio of responsibility. And so I want to express my appreciation for your willingness to take some of the vision I think that the commission has had and find ways to implement that throughout the staff, and then look for things like Mirati, which is the program that's used to really track a lot of the projects. And I think that you've been able to use that program in a way it was never used before, and bring the right people around the table to start this process of streamlining and creating a better business model for service delivery for developers and others that are looking for licenses and things like that. So
Yes.
that's my, I'm going to express my appreciation at the very top. I think Commissioner Gibson's really expressed his appreciation for the line level and the supervisors and managers and the tremendous amount of work that's being done. And really at the end of the day, there's only one thing that we provide as county government, and that is service. And so our priority is to provide the very best service that we can. And I think that this department is really working to provide that service. So thank you from the commission.
Thank you very much.
So as part of this opportunity that we have to recognize the department, we allow for each department to nominate a Stall of Fame recipient, where they get parking stall number 1, or letter A, whatever you want to call it, the best, the brightest, right in front of the door. And we hope that gives them an opportunity to recognize how much we really appreciate them. And so, Sean, do you want to tell us who the grand prize winner is here in this particular
Grand prize winner
case?
for the Stall of Fame is Carrie Serrano from our planning division. And if you've ever talked to Carrie, you've gone away laughing. She has a very bubbly and funny personality, and she is one of our office specialists in the planning division. She works to put all of our information into the Mirati system to make sure that it gets disseminated where it needs to go. She also oversees our Ogden Valley Planning Commission, takes the minutes, and she goes to the front counter when she needs to. She's just all over the office making sure that things are getting done. So we wanted to recognize Carrie today. Unfortunately, she is not here this morning. She had some issues come up, and she's laid up at home right now, but she's watching So Rick made sure that she was watching the live stream today. So Carrie, congratulations.
Congratulations. There'll be a test on this meeting to make sure that she was watching.
Awesome.
Just staffing the Ogden Valley Planning Commission alone has got to be a full-time job. I always have a lot of fun with Carrie. She's a blast. I always have to ask her why she's got a man's name. She asked me why I have a woman's name. Not sure why, but I appreciate her.
We
And
should pull that.
no, it's fun to associate with her, and we're really grateful for her service. So, Carrie, if you can see us, hear us, thank you.
You know, someone once told me the real mark of a man or a woman is how people feel when they walk away, and the emotion that's evoked, whether it's a positive or negative, whether it builds somebody up or brings them down. And that type of bubbly, fun personality becomes evasive through the entire organization. And so that is what we want to really have as far as the climate, the culture, the identity of our real small, I guess it's not a small, it is a fairly large community of employees. So thank you very much for being a person that really brings that out. And when people leave, they're laughing and they feel like they've been helped, but they also have had a positive experience. So I can't say anything beyond what's already been said other than thank you and keep making everyone laugh and keep helping get the job done. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's
very
give her a round of applause even though she's not here. Okay, back to the monotony. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number F, consent items. Number one, a request for approval of warrants 1167 through 1178 and 419906 through 420102 in the amount of $1,291,186.69. Item number two, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $53,034.70. Item number three, request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on August 15th, 2017. Item number four, request for approval of cross-access agreement for 700 West SR 39. Number five, request from the Weber County Tax Review Committee for approval of the following recommendations. Matthew Hadley, parcel number 15-145-0004, a refund amount of $336.34. Cindy Lund, parcel 13-121-0002, refund amount of $385.10. And Gregory Nelson, parcel number 16-198-0004, refund amount $529.70. Any questions, Commissioner?
None for me.
Seeing no questions, Mr. Hatch, would you go over our PO and warrants?
Yes, sir. We've got 15 purchase orders this week for $53,000, a fairly small amount for the week. So only one of them met our threshold to discuss here, and that was 53% of the amount, or $28,000, was for the library. And that was for audiovisual materials and some software as well. We had 209 checks issued this week for $1.3 million. 5 of those were recurring monthly payments. Actually, the transfer station, I don't think that's monthly, but it's often. 32% of that amount, or $408,000, was for the transfer station. That was for disposal costs. 15%, or $191,000, was the monthly payment for paramedic service, and 13%, or $169,000, was the monthly payment for human services to our Weber Human Services. 9%, or $110,000, was payment to our public defenders. 6%, or $82,000, was for our roads department, and that was primarily buying chipping oil. And then lastly, 6%, or $73,000, was the monthly payment to the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hatch. Commissioner Gibson.
No questions for me.
Okay, I'm open for motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items as read.
I will second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Thank you very much. We'll move to G, under action items. Number one, request for approval of a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Weber County providing notice of its intent to reappoint Elizabeth Later. I said Latter. even though I knew it was later because she corrected me 3 times, to the Weber Human Services Governing Board. Really quickly, there are several appointments for that board that are not political in nature. We have, as a commission, opportunity to appoint those and the responsibility. One of the areas that is open right now, I believe, is the Center of Mental Health. There's aging and mental health that we can appoint to. And Elizabeth has served on the board. She's done a very good job. And the behavioral board has asked that she be reappointed in the position of mental health. I got through that, not very clearly, but I got through that. And so that's where we are today. That's the recommendation. I would affirm that recommendation. I think she's done a good job and continues to be interested. We'd asked her. Questions?
She's been a great asset to the board. I guess the reason that it's listed as notice of intent is that it has to be ratified by Morgan County Council. Is that correct, Dave?
Correct.
That's by way of interlocal agreement because of the way that our human services is set up. So I'll make a motion, Commissioner, that we provide notice of our intent to reappoint Elizabeth Lader to the Weber Human Services Governing Board.
Okay, Resolution 33, there's been a motion to approve Resolution 33, reappointing Elizabeth Lader to the Weber Human Services Governing Board. Upon approval, it will return to us from Morgan County. I will second that. Any further discussion? Seeing none,
Commissioner Gibson
Aye.
and Chair Ebert.
Aye. It passes. Thank you very much. Item number 2, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and CRS Engineers for construction, observation, and management of the sewer line installation at the fairgrounds. Mr. Jared Anderson.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Mr. Anderson.
Again, I think the actual sewer line contract came before you about 2 weeks ago, but very exciting project. We do need construction management for this sewer line. There's a lot of issues that we're aware of out there and that we'll run into. We went through the procurement process, actually called a couple of construction management firms and said, please bid on this. We only had one bidder. It's a very busy time of year, so we're glad that we had the one bidder, and that was CRS, and that's their contract, and let me know if you have any questions on it.
No questions for me.
No questions for me either.
I'm glad to see it moving along.
Yeah.
It was buttoned up a little bit for the fair so we could park out in that area, but it's going to be a real asset, I think, to that facility. Things have changed a lot, as we've talked about before, in just a few years in the way that people travel and attend events like that. And I think having a place to hook up like that will make a big difference to the offering that the fairgrounds facility has. It's a great facility, and that's one of the things that's really been missing. So looking forward to working with them on that, making that happen. So,
Great.
With that, Commissioner, I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Weber County CRS to observe and manage the sewer line installation.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. It passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. We'll move to H, public hearing, a request for a motion to adjourn the public meeting and convene a public hearing. Do you have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. We're in a public hearing regarding proposal for creation of an agricultural protection area by the Norma Esther Bailey Family Trust, parcel 17-051-0046. Fatima is presenting.
Good
Hello.
morning. So I've presented 2 other agricultural protection areas, or APAs, the last 2 weeks, so I won't go into that much detail. The APAs fall under state code and allow and protect the applicants to continue their agricultural activities when new subdivision developments rise up around these parcels. The statutory noticing, mailing, publication, etc. requirements have been fulfilled. I've received no objections or requests to modify the proposal. The item was heard in the Western Weaver Planning Commission, I think it was July 18th. And it was also heard by the APA Advisory Board, and they recommend approval. You heard comments last week and from the applicant, and these were comments in favor of the APA. And today you can just hear the public comments, and you can approve, modify and approve, or reject the proposal.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Gibson, any questions for Fatima?
No, just again, I think as she said, we've talked about this a lot the last couple of weeks. Fatima, could you just bring us another one every week for the next month or two?
I'd love to. I really support this. This is great, but I hate coming talking in front of public. But I do support this, and so do you guys. So in the state, so it's great.
We appreciate it. It's a great thing, and I won't repeat some of the things that I've said in the past, but I will just say thank you, Fatima. We know it's a tremendous amount of work, and just reiterate that I think it's a super positive thing for the agricultural industry and for our ability to continue to encourage in some small way, because there is an awful lot stacked against them, an awful lot of difficulty that they have no control over, and this is just one small thing that I think county government can do to help them to maintain the opportunity to continue to farm and provide food and fiber for our community. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would, is it time for public comment?
Yeah, is there any public comment? Anybody from the public who wishes to comment? Okay, seeing none, Commissioner?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the public meeting.
I will second that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes. Action on the public hearing, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agricultural protection area of Norma Esther Bailey Family Trust as presented and as outlined.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Thank you very much. This is time set aside for any other public comment or other agenda items. Does anybody in the public have any types of comments they'd like to make? Okay, seeing none, we appreciate your attendance today, and we'll move to J. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. It passes. We're adjourned. Thank you very much for attending today.